Hi guys, you're all okay. Again, we are meeting for a live session, so I'm giving you time, guys, to join so that we can basically go deep into our discussion today. And being an open forum, that is to say, you can, in the event that you're having any question, of course, you can always ask under the chat or under the comment section, or you can as well WhatsApp us. I'll be here to assist you guys. So today I just want us to have a general kind of talk, yeah, about April exams. And majority of you are always like, you've really complained that I normally tend to neglect that is a foundation level, talking about the foundation level papers. Yeah, today I'm going to talk about the same and have a general discussion on so many other things, right? So I'm waiting for you guys to join. I'm waiting for you guys to join. I know some of us basically have joined the conversation. Some of us have basically joined the conversation. Yeah, so discussion about today, I'll be talking of, say, like three main elements or four main elements, which will widen our scope of this conversation. First of all, discussing about, I know you guys, you might be very anxious that, wow, now exams are here. We're talking about next week, right? Just the day after tomorrow, which should be Monday. That is when majority of you guys, you're starting your exams. Anxiety is always there, expected, but of course, you can't avoid that, but of course, you can always tend to fight that, right? And of course, there are those who are afraid. There are those who started probably studying last week due to time factor. I know those who are in audit industry, basically right now they are very busy. We do understand. And at this point, you'll find that basically finding time to combine all this is always a kind of a very huge task. But I believe you're going to hack it out. Yeah, so talking about the April 2023 exams, I know you guys will be expecting a lot of new things, probably. Things are really changing very fast. So, talking about April 2023 exams, I'll start with the foundation level because majority of you have complained that Mwalimu, I've always I'm always not talking about foundation level. I always talk about intermediate level going forward. So, talking about basically foundation level, of course, we are having 6 papers which you guys are expected to clear. That is, of course, starting with financial accounting. Talk about that is, of course, introduction to business law. We're having communication. We're having basically ICT. We're having economics, and you're having quantitative analysis. So these are these are the papers that you'll always be expected basically to handle at foundation level. So at this point, talking about maybe if I were to start with financial accounting, financial accounting is quite wide at foundation level. In the beauty part, financial accounting, the one I'm going to talk about basically, it will also covers the ATD segment, those students who are doing that is ATD. So financial accounting, I normally tend to say that this is also one of the easiest paper by the way that you guys you can always tend to pass. You can always tend to hack these out with one attempt. Why? First of all, these are statement papers. And the secret for statement papers is always the same all through. If I told you to talk about the secret of statement papers, you'll find that statement papers are the easiest papers that a student can always tend to pass. These statement papers, of course, includes the financial accounting. We are talking about financial reporting. We are talking about taxation, both intermediate and advanced. We're also talking about the FR, of course, also both for intermediate and advanced. So they normally tend to share one common item that we normally tend to tell you guys each and every day, that these papers, so long as you're good with the formats, These are the easiest papers that you can always tend to pass, most when it comes to CASNEB. So long as you are good with the format, you just be very good to go. Why? Because you'll find that on these papers, actually they normally tend to mark entries. So as many entries as you have, as many correct entries as you have, the better for you. So when you have your paper, these are basically for statement papers. If you've mastered the format, and probably this question requires a format, what do you need to do? Just copy paste the format straight from your head. Just copy paste it the way it is. Start inserting the direct entries. Once you're done with the direct entries, you'll basically be very good to go. You'll find that you'll be having you'll be having a lot of points. Actually, you'll be having a lot of points which are actually correct. And as at the end of the day, supplement it with theories, because like you can't avoid theories as well. Theories will always be there. So if you supplement it with theories, you'll find that it will be very, very good to go. And specifically for these coming exams, for those who are doing financial accounting, I'm not saying that this is the one that is going to come, but I want you to be very good in these areas. Let me just note them somewhere. I want you to be very good in these areas. For those who are doing basically, that is of course financial accounting. Today I'm talking about foundation level, most of the talk in relation to exams per se. So for those who are doing financial accounting, I want you guys to be very, very good in ratio analysis. This one also applies to financial reporting students. There is concept of ratio analysis. Just be good on, of course, these are financial forecasting. Be very good on ratio analysis. Also, the other key area that I also want you guys to basically be very good at, there is concept of bank reconciliation, right? We are talking of specifically for these coming exams, right? There is concept of bank reconciliation. Bank reconciliation is very key, and I'm saying bank reconciliation is because if you can check your papers, uh, it has not been tested for some time now, so it will be very important that you also have a glimpse and a good understanding in relation to bank reconciliation, where you're asked, of course, adjusted cash book, then you need to reconcile you need to reconcile basically your books. So bank reconciliation is also very key. Also, the other key area that you guys must also be very good at, there is concept of preparation of property, plant, and equipment movement schedules. Preparation of our property, plant, and equipment movement schedule. That concept ideally is also very, very important, basically for those students who will be doing the exams this coming week. Then, of course, to add on that, this other area to do the partnership. And for partnership, basically, I want you guys to be very keen when it comes to matters to do with basically admission of a partner, right? So in the event that you need to admit a partner, basically what will you be required basically to do? Remember the concept of evaluation, remember the concept of goodwill. These are very key items that must always be at your fingertips. So that is, of course, aspect to do with the admission of a partner. Then, of course, there is other area that I'll also want you guys to be very, very good at. Of course, these are accounting for limited companies. There's accounting for companies. That one is also very key for these coming exams. So for those who are doing financial accounting, make sure that you're good in these areas. Then, of course, there is concept which I know majority of you guys normally tend to neglect. And actually, this also applies for financial reporting students. Public sector. There is a question you'll remind me to share. There is a question for public sector, which is always very common, both in financial accounting and financial reporting. And it has been quite now some time since they tested the concept of basically public sector in terms of computation part. So it will also be very key that you are also very good when it comes to basically public sector. I want you guys to go through that. Then, of course, always make sure that you've kind of supplement the same with the theories. So these are some of specific areas that you guys who are doing financial accounting, you should be very keen on. Of course, for financial accounting, cutting all across, including students for basically ATD. So if you are good on that, I think you should be very good to go. If you revise along those areas, you should be very good to go when it comes to basically your exams. Then talking about theories, more so this level, majority of these concepts are always basically application. Say for example, we are talking of when you are talking of communication. Trust me, as much as you're having your notes, you might go and study and read all your notes, but you'll find that as at the end of the day, majority of the concept will be purely basically to do with what? To do with application. Apart from law, you'll find that ICT, communication, majority of these items basically is just a matter of you to have a clear understanding of the concept. Once you have a good knowledge on these areas, you'll find that a lot of things actually you're going to apply. A lot of things you're going to apply. That is application. As I've always said, we think beyond the four walls, right? In that event, you'll find that you just be very good to go. Talking about economics, like we have two segments, right? We're having basically microeconomics and we're having macroeconomics, of which they normally tend to balance the same. So at this point, you'll find that for macro, a bit you can always tend to apply, because these are basically the general aspect that normally tends to maybe affect us in terms of basically if you're to look at various economic factors that normally tend to affect, of course, either government or you as an individual. So for macroeconomics, is always a bit simple, because you can always tend to come up with a lot of points if at all you're a good student who normally thinks beyond the four walls. You see, the notes that you've studied, let the notes just be kind of be a guide, right? But don't cram these notes. Always just allow these notes to be what? To be kind of to be a guide. If you let it to be a guide, you'll find that it will be very easy for you to always tend to do what? To apply the concepts right in exams. So that is very key, that you should be able to understand that. Now, when it comes to microeconomics, you just have to study very you just have to have a deep understanding in relation to do with matters. If you're talking of elasticity of demand, if you're talking of basically talk about basically we are talking of maybe aspect of these types of goods, Giffen goods, complementary goods, you just have to understand the whole concept. That is microeconomics. So in that case, hatuna shortcut. In that case, hatuna shortcut kabisa kabisa kabisa. You just have to be very good on that and understand the whole concept. When it comes to QA, of course, QA, there are some specific areas that we know very well they'll never miss. They'll never miss in your exams. They'll never miss in exams. So when it comes to quantitative analysis, basically, at this point, of course, I'll share the link of, I think there's a video that I did on a specific areas of quantitative analysis that you just have to be very good at. So in this case, always make sure that I'll share that link. Make sure that you watch that video. It will give you a clear understanding when it comes to aspect to do the quantitative analysis. Yeah. So I think that's all about maybe foundation level. If at all you can use these tips very well, you'll find that passing exams will always be very, very, very easy. Of course, I know intermediate level, advanced level, I've really shared a lot with you guys on the best way that you can always tend to work it out. Now, the big question in the room is that, Mwalimu, we remain with only one day before exam starts. Now, what next? We've probably not been studying, right? Because if at all you can say that you want to study from today is good, yeah, basically to have a whole understanding on the same. So the big question in the room is that now, Mwalimu, that the time has elapsed, now what next? For me, as a student, probably, whom I've not been studying, I didn't have time to basically do my studies. It's not a question, guys, you can also contribute. How can you advise such a person? Yeah? I want you guys to comment on the comment section there. I want you guys to comment on the section, on the comment section, just down there. Like at this point, you're having this student who has not been studying, right? And right now, this person has remained with only like we're talking of a day to exams. What do you think? How can you advise this person? I want you guys to put something in the comment section. Actually, I'm waiting for you guys to put something in the comment section. How can you advise such a student? Is when he probably or she realizes that now I need to study. You know, like at times, some certain situations are always kind of very tricky to advise a student. Like in this event, that maybe yes, you have a few days to exams you've not been studying. Like we are talking of today, this video actually we're doing it on Saturday. Tomorrow, Sunday, exams are starting on basically Monday. How will you advise this student? Yeah, so the best that basically Mwalimu can always tend to say or basically advise is that at this point, all you need basically to understand is that every exam will always have a strategy. That's one thing, right? So the best strategy for this student, probably whom he or she feels like he hasn't or she hasn't done enough, first of all, your best weapon will be confidence. That should be your best weapon. That should be your best weapon. Confidence should be your best weapon at this point. You see, yes, practically we are talking over basically some few days that has remained. You've not been studying. You're kind of you still feel like you've not prepared enough. So the best weapon that you can have with these few remaining days basically is confidence. Why is Mwalimu talking about confidence? You'll find that if at all you don't have confidence, of course, anxiety will bring you down. That's purely for a fact. If you don't have confidence, anxiety will bring you down. And that one you can't hide. So with these few remaining days, or actually you're taking for one day for exams to start officially, your best weapon will be confidence. Why? Confidence will help you to fight anxiety. And once you are able to fight anxiety, you'll find that while you are in that exam room, you can't lack anything to put on that paper. Number one rule, we should never leave a blank space. We should never leave a blank space in that paper that you're doing. Regardless of how exam, regardless of how that paper has been quite a challenge, but number one rule in exam is that you should never leave a blank space. Always forget about leaving the blank space. Right? Number two, of course, in this case, there are those questions that you might feel, of course, anyone can always experience that this question is quite a bit challenging, and I don't know where I'm going to start from, and I don't know where I'm going to basically end. So such questions, what you can always tend to do, make sure that if at all a question requires a formula, put that formula on that paper. Remember, this formula is always a mark, right? The formula that you're putting there will always earn you a mark. So make sure that you've put this formula. And once you have the formula, of course, there are some structures that you can always tend to put down. Now, the other key areas, of course, maximize on the theories and more so aspect to do with, because if at all you can look at your syllabus, each and every unit has concepts to do with emerging issues, right? If at all right now, if you go to that syllabus of yours, check it out, regardless of the unit that you're doing, each unit will always be having emerging issues. And emerging issues, the best part of it is that it is always an open question, right? Take advantage of these questions. Take advantage of these questions. And at that point, basically, you'll find that at least you'll be having points to have. You've not been studying. You've basically, you have that confidence. Confidence has helped you to fight that anxiety. So in all this, you'll find that when handling this paper, there's that bit that you can't miss to put something on paper. Then, as I've always said, and this will apply to majority of the computation papers. Kindly, if possible, always avoid starting with question number one. This one is for a fact. If possible, more so if you're doing this, basically you're talking of, I'm talking of specifically, these are computation papers. Always avoid starting with question number one. Why is Mwalimu saying that we should avoid question number one? This is the reason. This is always the design, and literally you can agree with Mwalimu. Question number one will be designed in a way that, first of all, you'll find that I'll be having, say, like part A, part B, part C, and part D. Okay? So part A will welcome you. Like, wow, this question today is very, very lenient on our end. So part A, you'll be given, say, like 2 marks, right? Welcome to the exams, right? Karibu sana. This paper now today is very fair. You'll be like, wow, see, I wish all the questions ingekuwa kama hii. So part A, you'll be given, say, like 2 marks. Part B of the question, they are going to give you like 3 marks, for example. Now come to part C, part D, you'll find that you might tend to waste a lot of time. You still remember you're in question number one. You will waste a lot of time in part C and part D in that question number one. So by the time you realize yourself, because already they started by enticing you, by giving you things that they know every student they're likely to know. Part A, part B, which are basically 5 marks. So about the 15 marks that has remained. In this case, you'll find that a majority of the questions, I'm not saying that it is a must to be set in that manner, but majority of the question, of course, based on the experience that we have, you'll find that it has always been designed in that manner. So you'll tend to waste a lot of time in this question number one. Then the examiner will tell you, like, you know what, 2 hours have remained. Imagine being told 2 hours and you're still in question number one. What will happen? You see, kale kajasho ka hapa kwa mapua, right? There's always that sweat huwa inatoka hapa kwa mapua, itaanza kuteremka. And once hiyo jasho imeanza kutoka kwa mapua, you're totally done, right? Because in this case, that is to say, at least that fear has come into you, that anxiety has come into you, and of course, there's a very high probability that you'll end up messing a lot of things in these other questions. So in this case, you'll find that basically, as you're saying, like that is always the design, and you'll find that more so for these computation papers, a lot of students, they normally don't fail because they don't know, right? It is because in this case, there's that concept which is this is a lifesaver in every exam: time management. Time management will always be a lifesaver in every exam. So the moment you know how to manage your time in this exam scenario, things will always be very easy. So as Mwalimu is saying, and I'm not saying that it is a must that these concepts should always be like that, like question number one to always to be designed in that manner, but majority of the time, this question number one will always be designed in that manner. So the big question again will be, Mwalimu, now, what is a good question that I'm going to start with? What is the best question that I'm going to start with? So in this case, as I've always mentioned, the best strategy that you can always tend to hack all these exams will always be this, okay? And kindly, if possible, you can put it down so that you should not forget it, right? So this is the best strategy that you can always tend to use, and this applies basically to all the questions, okay? To all the units, sorry. So once you have that paper of yours, what you need to do is to do some scratch. Scratch is allowed, right? Maybe you're having question number one. Try to scratch the questions just beside that. Try to scratch the solutions beside that, beside the question. Do that with all the questions. Then after you've done this with all the questions, for theory, you put the theory down. For computation, yeah, you've come and tick like this is how I can work it, or this is how I can work it out. Remember, you're just sketching. You can take like say 15 to 20 minutes just sketching all that you can be able to do. Let that be a maximum of 20 minutes, a maximum of 20. Sketch all the questions, or rather all that you can sketch. Now, after you've done this, identify, okay? Identify the question that you have the most solutions. If it is a question number two, avoiding question number one, that is the case. The question, if it's at all the question number one is the one that you have all the solutions, of course, go for it. I'm not denying you to go for it, right? So after you've sketched all this and you've identified the questions that you have a lot of sketches, and these sketches, basically, remember, these sketches are literally solutions, right? So once you have this in mind, what you need to do is to start with the questions that you have the most solutions on. Then in that case, go to the second question that you have the most solutions on. Do that till you clear all the questions, minding your time. Don't take a maximum of 35 minutes in a question. Don't take a maximum of 35 minutes in a question. If that is a maximum should be 35 minutes, sorry to say. 35 minutes should be the maximum time that you can take in a question. And more so for statement papers, as I've always said, prepare all the format and have all the things that you can have. But let one question should not take you more than 35 minutes. If you're able to do this, things will be very, very easy on our end. And you'll find that by the time maybe you're done with the 2.5 hours, you'll have cleared all the questions. And basically what will remain is just maybe kind of polishing these other areas that you have. Now, the other question that maybe majority of the students they normally tend to have, this is basically like yeah, actually a good student has asked that. That is what I wanted to tell you. Yeah, thank you for that question in WhatsApp. So you'll find that one is asking, Mwalimu, is there a point whereby the marks can go below 50 marks or 50%? Is there a point whereby the marks can go below 50%? For CASNEB, never. For CASNEB, never. The questions, or rather the pass mark, will always be 50% and above. It will never go below 50%, regardless of how the exam has been. Probably that normally tend to apply with FM. I know majority of the students are always, they normally tend to cry and all these other computation papers. So Mwalimu is telling us for free that at no given point will the pass mark be below 50%. This is what normally happens. Let me share with you guys so that you guys should be having an understanding and knowledge on the same. When probably this question, or rather when this paper has been poorly performed, what they normally, or rather what we normally tend to do, rather what is normally being done, is that there's always that aspect of reallocation of marks. Say, for example, maybe there's a question that students have not performed very well, or maybe like in this case, a lot of students, maybe they have ignored that question because probably it was quite challenging. So what normally happens is, in this case, there's always a reallocation. Say a question which I'd say like 20 marks, you'll find that, or rather this question that probably has been performed poorly and it was allocated say like 10 marks or 12 marks. So there's going to be a reallocation that all these other questions will contribute so that this maybe the most challenging question can have up to 20 marks or maybe up to 18 marks. Remember, this is a question that was worst performed. So like in this case, any attempt in that question, it will always tend to fetch a lot of marks. And that's why I normally tend to encourage that you should never leave a blank space in that exam, in that paper. You should never leave a blank space because you never know. Probably you are the only one who has attempted that question. And in this case, you'll find that you might always, or rather you'll always scoop a lot of points in this question that has been poorly performed. So at no given point will the pass mark go below 50%. In that case, you should just have that at the back of your mind. At no any given point will, of course, the pass mark go below 50%. So I believe I've answered that question to the student who had asked. Kivo is saying like some people tend to miss the exam altogether. I'd say show up, yeah, get a feel of what the exams are like and what's expected by the examiner. If you pass, thank Jesus. If you fail, prepare for this. Prepare for the receipt. I like that, Kevin. Kevin, you're saying, this is what Kevin has commented. Some people tend to miss the exam altogether. I'd say show up. Get a feel, of course, of what the exams are like and what is expected by the examiner. If you pass, yeah, we should always thank Jesus. If you fail, prepare for the receipt. That's the spirit. Never, if at all you've booked for the exams, never miss that exam. Just go for that paper. You never know. You never know. You never know. Of course, you're going to pass in a certain case. You never know. So always take that advantage. Yeah. So in this case, as you guys, as you're preparing to go in the sit for your exams, you should always also be thinking about what next after that paper, right? I know you guys will be having, of course, your results after the exams. Of course, you should always expect probably for this time round, you should expect your results probably on 20th May thereabout. Or it can't be early than 20th. You never know. But basically towards 20th there, that is when you should be expecting your results. Of course, after this sitting, or rather after the exams. So I'll also want to encourage you guys, like within this period that you are waiting for your exams, there are so many short courses that can always tend to take an advantage of. The reason is you'll find that nowadays what normally tends to happen more so with this generation of ours, majority of the students actually they are basically for exams. Majority of the students they are basically for exams, which is very bad. As much as it is very good to pass these exams, but let it be kind of I normally tend to always raise this point every now and then. There's always a difference between learning and studying, right? There's always a very big difference between learning and studying. So you'll find that majority, more so sorry to say, but majority of the CPA students, they normally tend to study. A lot of them, maybe apart from Mdarasa students, normally attend the live sessions and of course the other packages. Majority of the students they normally tend to study. So you'll find that when you are talking about studying is all about for a specific purpose, which in this context is always about exams. And that's the reason why a CPA student, probably this person did say like a financial reporting last semester. If you ask this person a question in financial reporting today, this person will not answer. Simply because what this person did was basically cramming for exams. Once the exam is done, everything kind of is always being formatted, everything is always being formatted after the exams, which is always a very bad approach. And that's the reason why, and sorry to say, this has affected this generation a lot. People normally cry that accountants are being paid peanuts, right? That has always been the cry. Accountants are being paid peanuts. It is kind of this is a cancer to this profession of ours, simply because you'll find that maybe assuming like you want to come and you want an internship probably in our company, right? Or in this case, maybe you want even to volunteer. You know, nowadays even volunteering, you can miss a chance. You're giving yourself to volunteer to work, but still a company will not give you a chance. I don't know if you guys have experienced that. Like literally, you want to volunteer, right? And in this case, you are being denied that chance. Or maybe just internship, and you're being denied this chance. Of course, these are for upcoming accountants. I know some of us who are also watching this video, I know you guys are you're working, you're having your own businesses, but specifically these are, of course, for these upcoming accountants, right? You'll find that the reason why do you think you're going to be denied this chance of maybe aspect to do with you volunteering or even internship? You know, like, of course, one will argue, I don't have experience. Why are you denying me this chance? And this is what I want us to get it very clearly. You'll find that employers, this is what they normally tend to look at. We know very well that you're still a student. We know very well that probably you've just done with your papers, or rather with your exams. But here comes the key catch. Here comes the catch. You're coming looking for an internship in my company, right? You're here looking for a chance to volunteer, right? In this case, maybe I'll give you a chance for an interview. After I've given you this chance for an interview, of course, I'll gauge, first of all, if you have the knowledge. Because remember what you've been doing, or rather why the point that you've been in college or rather in campus is it is expected that you are gathering knowledge, right? It is expected that basically all this process you are gathering knowledge. But what if that knowledge you don't have, simply because you are just studying to pass exams? You know, the worst thing is that when you're just studying to pass exams, there's a point that you're also going to miss that knowledge. So that once you are in this interview, I'm going to ask you a question, a very simple question of double entry. I've not given you even you practical item to do. These are just a matter of engaging. We're just engaging in questions, right? I'm going to ask you a question, like in this case, maybe a concept in double entry. You start fumbling there. You don't know how to explain yourself because you don't have the knowledge itself. You want an internship to come and get experience, right? That's the main purpose of internship. You want to volunteer to come and get experience. But how can you get this experience and yet you don't have the knowledge? You see, the best case that I can always tend to give you, maybe I've engaged you in that interview, and probably, of course, randomly you've been selected. What the best that I can tell you, probably in that case, I'll have two options for you, right? The first option, of course, if at all you've not basically kind of you've not shown that you've not kind of clearly shown me that you have even the knowledge, the best I can tell you, like, go, we are going to call you, right? Go, we are going to call you. I don't think if you never receive that call, you never receive that call. Or the alternative is you have, of course, maybe you've applied for this internship, or maybe it is a job that you've applied for. You have your degree, you have your CPA, or maybe you're having your diploma and a CPA. You've stated maybe you're at intermediate level or you're at advanced level, but I've gauged you don't have the knowledge. So you are quoted, say, like 50,000 or even 40,000 for that task. You know, the best that I can give you, or rather the best that I can tell you, is simply maybe to give you maybe a price of an intern, say like 15,000, or maybe aspect of maybe 20,000. This just for transport, basically. Simply because, first of all, you've not demonstrated that you're having a knowledge. What you want to gain is experience. How will you gain experience and yet you don't have the knowledge? Simply because you're just studying to pass exams. In that case, literally on my end, actually, if I was to kind of absorb you, I'm going to absorb you as an intern with a salary for an intern, regardless of whichever papers that you're having, because first of all, you don't have the knowledge. So I'm going to use my resources to give you the knowledge and experience at the same time. I don't know if you guys, you understand the angle that Mwalimu is coming. And doing this, we will always be saying, like, accountants are being paid peanuts, accountants are being paid peanuts, accountants are being paid peanuts. But it all starts with us. It all starts with us. Sorry to say, like in this case, maybe let me talk to basically maybe advanced level students. These are students, of course, will be clearing the exams, and probably you're not maybe applying the same task, or maybe you are in a work environment and maybe you don't apply, or rather you're not in finance department, right? So here comes a student. Yes, you are in advanced level. You enter a class. At this level, of course, you're talking about specializations, right? There are some units that you need to specialize. Then either you're doing your self-study, or maybe you're doing your self-study, which is okay to gather knowledge, or maybe, or basically that, of course, there are different types of students. Or you are in a class, you're being taught with a person who has never even applied tax. Imagine you are specializing in taxation, but the person who is guiding you in area of specialization, this person has zero practical knowledge in tax. Or maybe this person has zero practical knowledge when it comes to financial reporting. He can't even prepare books of accounts. Surely, what will you be given in this case? What are you getting? If I was to ask you that question, That is upon you to answer. You've entered a class of specialization. I've just taken an example of tax. You want to say that you're specializing in tax, and the person who is guiding you in this case, he has zero or she has zero experience when it comes to matters to do tax, zero practical experience. What will you be gaining? Of course, this person will be teaching you how to pass exams, which is kind of it normally pisses me off when I just remember when you just click that majority of the students actually in this age of ours, they are doing this purely for exams, which is very bad actually. It shouldn't be like that. So I normally tell my students, and of course you, my viewers, as much as you will wish to save, or rather as much as the economy is quite stiff at the moment, but remember, there's nothing that will benefit you in future that will come for free. There's always a cost that you need to pay. If at all you want value, right? There's nothing entirely for free. If at all you want value, there's always that premium or that cost that you have to incur. So if at all things are so hard, yes, you want to save, which is very much acceptable. But again, look at the impact. How will it affect you after that? How will it affect you? How will it affect you? So maybe you're a parent, you're having you're having probably your child doing maybe aspect of CPA, or you wish your child to do maybe CPA. So these are some of the areas that while you're selecting probably a course or maybe a college for your child to study, these are some of the areas that you must always tend to pay very keen attention on. It is not always about exams, but rather the knowledge. And trust you me, if at all we correct this aspect of, or rather this story that accountants are being paid peanuts, you'll find that you'll tend to cease, because ideally the persons that will be maybe releasing in the market, you'll find that they will have gone through a process that they have acquired a clear knowledge and understanding of the unit or the concept that they are studying. So that even if I've invited you for an interview, first of all, I'll be encouraged, you having the knowledge. So giving you an internship or giving you maybe a task to volunteer, in this case, it will be very easy for me. But the moment I've realized that you don't have even that knowledge, it will be quite a challenge also on our end, or maybe on my end as an employer, to give you a chance. So I'll really wish you guys also to always tend to correct and always think about it. Actually, just think about it, and of course you'll always tend to come up with your, of course, your resolution of the same, or rather your conclusion of the same. And that's why you never hear maybe should I use the term old generation? You never hear of any of them complaining about being paid peanuts, because there's that process that these guys kind of they went through a certain process, that even if they are in a job interview, even on their performance, of course, they are, other than experience, these guys, they're using the knowledge that they acquire, because it was not always about exams. So if we check this, I think all of us will always be happy. And normally have, I think we'll always tend to set a session to talk about this, because it's a very quite of a very sensitive topic, which I know majority of us will not be ready to consume. Majority of us literally will not be ready to consume this, but that is a fact. That is a fact. It's either we change the way we acquire this knowledge for us to change the way we are being paid in the market. That is a fact. Take a very good example of, I know also there are so many issues when it comes to, of course, these other professions, like maybe talk about lawyers and all these other professions. There'll always be a challenge, but you'll find that their challenge when it comes to matters to do with being paid or so, once I've gotten a chance, of course, I'll always tend to do it. I'll always tend to apply and get something reasonable also in my work, because Tell me a lawyer who has studied for him or herself, then he has been certified. Just give me one lawyer. This is a certified lawyer, and all through he has studied by him or herself. Tell me. If you have one, of course, you can share the name. If you have one, you can share the name. So you'll find that these are some of the areas that we should always tend to think about, more so when we are in this career of ours. Then, of course, the other things that we can always tend to talk about, of course, this actually that came as I was sharing with you guys, like when you'll be waiting for your exams. Remember, like nowadays, the world is very competitive. You can always take an advantage and basically take advantage of these courses, short courses. More so when you're talking of data analytics, it doesn't matter which level you are in, but the fact is that where we are heading, accounts basically task will purely change. So regardless of which level of maybe studies or which level of CPA you are in, always take advantage of you updating your skill and knowledge when it comes to matters to do data analytics. Have a good idea when it comes to matters to do with a bit of information technology and how it's going to affect our industry. Have these hard skills. It will always tend to help us when it comes to bargaining power in job market, or even when you decide to start your own venture. It will always tend to open your mind wide, and as at the end of the day, all of us will gain. All of us will gain. So without saying much, because I just wanted to talk about the exams, though I've gone deeper and talk about some other things that we need to set a session on the same. Yeah, at this point, guys, I'll wish to maybe wish you all the best. I'll want to wish you all the best as you prepare for your exams. I'll want to wish you all the best. Always, we've said that number one trick is that let us always learn how to fight our anxiety. Let us be confident in all that we are doing. And as at the end of the day, we are all going to be very, very happy. So at this point, for those who are starting the exams next week, I wish you all the best that, of course, the exam can give you. And at the same time, for those who are not clearing CPA, take chance. After exams, of course, you can always, for those who didn't join us this semester, you can always join us next semester. Our classes actually will commence officially on that is should be on 8th next month. Our classes will commence officially on 8th next month. So the way us as MDarasa, specifically talking about MDarasa, we normally design our structure in a way that those students who are registering for next semester, of course, you can register as soon as you can, even today. Why? You'll be given access to the recorded version. And this is the reason. You'll find that nowadays, semester is always very short, right? So we have this strategy that we normally tend to use as MDarasa. We give you access for those students probably who are registering for live virtual sessions. We give you access to the pre-recorded version. So you have a chance to study in advance, so that when Mwalimu starts the semester officially, this time round, you won't be starting from scratch, but you'll be having an idea of what you are handling. So this will provide us with a chance, first of all, to instill very good knowledge on your end, and also for the purpose of exams, to do as helpful illustration as possible, because time is short. And in that case, we find that we've been using that strategy. It has always been helpful to a lot of students, and that's why you'll find that of course our pass rate is always very high. These are some of the strategies that we normally tend to use, because in class you won't be starting from scratch, but rather you'll find that you'll be having at least knowledge, because you've gone through all these videos. So you can take that chance to join us as soon as maybe you can, as soon as possible, so that when you start next semester, of course, you guys should be just good to go. Our classes are 100% online. our classes are 100% online. We are one kind of college that really believe on virtual learning. So our classes are 100% online. And for this case, we normally tend to have two packages. The first package is pre-recorded version. The other package is live virtual session. So pre-recorded version, you control your own timetable. Live virtual session, you join class as per our set timetable. So this is how we design the same. So this point, guys, I wish you all the best. And yeah, in case of anything, you can always reach us out and we'll always guide you further. To this point, wish you all the best. See you in our next video. Thank you. Bye.